Back again. We on? Yeah, we record. Back again. Welcome to the Let Us Become Sharper slash TNS podcast. Welcome back. Glad to have you here with me on my name is CJ. Let Us Become Sharper. And we're glad to be doing it again. Starting off with the inspiration. We speaking about the script. More and more so, we see the script. What does the script mean? The script is of inspiration and excellence. And the inspiration for the podcast, named Let Us Become Sharper, is my barbering career. Start off many years ago. I've been put it in context. We're speaking about Goodfellas Barbershop. One thing I want to mention in speaking about Goodfellas Barbershop is we want to go to a level where I want to name three. I want to put down three. I want to say Goodfellas Barbershop, world famous headquarters, and Suite 161 are the three. These three are unprecedented. They're just phenomenal, amazing. But we're talking about Goodfellas Barbershop with the blue and white checker floor. Let Us Become Sharper. We're speaking of a day, west side of Detroit. This was the day when they put the Cartier woods on my face. They put the Cartier woods and I cut a nose. We're speaking of that day because Let Us Become Sharper. That mantra comes from back then in that time where we cut with the big old yays on, with the gold on them and the tint. The title, TNS/TNS, stands for the Thursday Night Society. We hold that title. Thursday night is from the hours of 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. And the Thursday night is nothing but a positive injection to an industry, the positive injection to a lifestyle. Thursday night, TNS, hashtag TNS is not just the typical event or just a typical happening. Thursday night is for the players. It's really, really heavy duty. And when you come in there, you must come in there correctly. I added that to the game because we needed an outlet on Thursday night. A lot of guys and girls, got men and women that attend Thursday night, hashtag TNS. These are the people who stand out in society. These are the people who don't play all the way by the rules. Sometimes, people like to just be, commoners, common folk, the common folk. What do the common folk do? Some people reach and aspire for higher. Thursday night is there for you. The Thursday Night Society, hashtag TNS. We hold that title. We also hold that title at Prime and Proper. The footage of that, we went down to Prime and Proper, in our TNS Thursday night dealings when we leave the shop and actually go out around the town and show the people what we can do, the trips and all. TNS is all over. We go from coast to coast. We're going global, and we did it real big at Prime and Proper. We got footage of it showing unity amongst players coming together and doing something that's positive energy. The narrative. Now, I want to speak to you today about the narrative. The narrative is the script, and the script is the narrative. When the story of your life is being told, that is the narrative, the basis of your life, my life. What does the narrative really mean? And the script is the account of that story. The script is what is written. The script is what is in place to show where you can see tangible aspect of the narrative. The thing about it is the narrative is so important because it defines and gives ownership. And that's a big thing in these times. Everybody's talking about ownership. What belongs to you? What belongs to me? What's mine? What's yours? Everybody's conversation is trying to lay hands on who's controlling what, who's really in control. But you are in control of your own narrative, and you're also in control of your own script. What I produce, what I sell, what I present to the people is the script. My script, the tangible element and the written element and the visual element of my narrative. Because what they try to do, and that's what my podcast is going to be about here today, what they try to do is they try to conscrew the narrative. This is what they try to do. When the story of your life is written, be sure that you have the pen in your hand, not writing with your hands folded and somebody else has the pen. You make sure that you have the pen. The story of my life is written with a solid gold pen. Man, the pen that wrote my life is solid gold. One thing I'm going to do for y'all, solid gold. One thing I'm going to do for you is I'm going to do humbly for anybody who hear me out and who walk on this journey with me with this podcast, the people who will stay with me, is I'll fill you in on my narrative and I'll lay down my script. My story was written with a solid gold pen. And you must know that they tried to change my narrative, and they try to flirt with the idea that we can, just in the slightest way, switch up the game. But I don't allow that. I don't allow that. And you shouldn't either. So as a bearskin rug and a fire in front of a fireplace, have you ever seen a bearskin rug? Like a bearskin rug in front of a fireplace with a little cognac is my title. As my title comes. So here's the topic. As a bearskin rug in front of a fireplace, here's my topic. The topic tonight, it's not going to be cliche. The topic tonight is not going to be something that it's not from the world. It's just something that's been on my mind. I want to come in when I'm flying solo, especially on the podcast. I keep a panel, but here lately I've been flying solo, just holding down the podcast, really holding it down. The podcast is one of my passions. It's something that I love to do. Somebody made a statement to me the other day, said, CJ, all you want to do is that podcast. You're right. You're right. Love my cast. So, my topic today is about reading between the lines. Reading between the lines. There's something that you don't know about me, but there's a skill that I have. See, I possess that skill. I possess that skill to read between the lines. And I am a master interpreter. I can interpret the true meaning of whatever is said to me, although I do not always interpret, but I have the skill and the ability to do so. So let's read between the lines. This is a very, very important space. And this is going to be, we're going to take this segment a few times over. I'm going to make a series out of this reading between the lines, because they really, really, really slept on and do not understand the importance of reading between the lines. When I was coming up, my parents was Frank and Vicky. I'll tell you who they were. And I love my parents. They're both gone now, but I love my parents. I've been having dealings with friends, family, clients, pastor goers. In my dealings with people, in my dealings in meeting new people and even old friends and family, one mistake that has been made over the years all lines up to the narrative and reading between the lines. Now, reading between the lines is a double entendre. I'll get to the second part, but we'll say this. The narrative is under attack. And I'm able to read between the lines and see that a lot of the things that's been going on in my life, as far as things that I don't approve of, when you look at me and when you see me, okay, that's fine. Whatever the opinion may be, I can live with it. I've had people that adore me, and I have people that didn't care for me. But don't you ever insult or disrespect Frank and Vicky. By trying to change my narrative or trying to say that I'm something that I'm not, in essence, you disrespecting them. And they're great parenting. I was raised excellent by them. They sacrificed for me, they took care of me, and they raised me up from a prince to a king. And when they try to say little slick things in these times, especially when they say little things and little slickness here or there, it's really up to me to read between the lines and say, not only are you playing around and fooling around with me, which I don't mind, but you also kind of insulting Frank and Vicky when y'all try to play with their child. Yes, I speak in reference to myself as a child because I am somebody's child. But I know how to read between the lines. I can see what you're really saying. And that's what reading between the lines is. What you really saying? What's really being said? I can interpret what you're really saying. What you're really saying is, Frank and Vicky didn't do their thing. That's what you're saying? No, you can't say that. They did a great job. Respect me and respect my parents. Respect the sacrifices that they made. Respect the class that they have, that they institute it with to me. Respect that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make you respect that, because I'm going to read between the lines. Moving forward, I'm going to use my skill. I'm going to read between the lines. I see what you're really trying to say that you'll never say. But I get the message loud and clear. Reading between the lines is important. And I'm able to see the unseen. That's a skill that I have because I'm so skilled. Man, I'm skilled, man. I can see between the lines. I can go between the obvious, what is written and what you put there, what you wanted me to read, and go in between those lines and see what the real message of what you're saying, the real message that needs to be conveyed. Yeah, I have that skill and I have that talent. And we're encouraging others to do so. Because you come around people who saying you have to be literal. I don't understand anything that you're saying until you're being literal. They never learn to read between the lines and get the direct message of what's really going on, the landscape that's really laid out for you of what the true message is. But that's what I'm able to do. And that's a skill. And I'm going to use my skill to the best of my ability. Let us become sharper. Now, as we move along, I want to talk to you guys about the rules. Everybody has rules, even me. Some rules are meant to be broken, and some rules can be bent. Some rules can be bent to a degree, and some rules can be broken clean. But there's always someone attempting to repair that rule or create a new one. But there is rules. One of my rules is 1 of 6. I was in the shop the other day and I was talking to a few of my guys, letting them know that I have 6 rules. I don't give them all the rules at once, but I'll give you one of my rules. And one of my rules is my phenomenal women. Let's speak on them for a minute. My phenomenal women. They are to be treated with respect. They are to be adorned. They are to be recognized for their greatness. And you should always keep a few. Phenomenal women. Yeah, I keep a few. I keep a few around me. Never going dry. One thing about my life, One thing in my life that I want to share with you, that I want to be honest, going dry is a no-no. Never going dry. Always keeping phenomenal women around me at all times. There's always a phenomenal woman somewhere in my life. I'm never going dry out here. The problem is people like to go dry, but expect an oasis of success. That don't make no sense at all. That's contradictory. That's antithetical to the movement. We don't want to be dry. We want to be hydrated with positivity, success. We want to be fruitful, and we wish to be prosperous. We demand to be prosperous. We speak it, we confess it as something that we want to be part of our lives. My phenomenal women, I thank you. I thank you for being a part of my life. I thank you for helping me, and I'm always to be of service to you. But I thank my phenomenal women. This is one of my rules. The rules are established in my life, and I'm going to share my rules with you as we go along. But that's one of them. Always recognize the phenomenal woman. Take time out, like I'm doing now. I take a little time out and I say something positive about my phenomenal women. I thank you for being a part of my life. I thank you for all that you have done, the hard work that you've done, your intellect and your mind. I appreciate that. Once again, as the name of the podcast, let us become sharper. Okay, so to my supporters of this podcast have really been helping me. I like to also thank the panel. No panel today, but I also like to thank the panel, the people who help get this podcast off the ground and build it. But now we're just really shaping it into what it is to be. I'd like to thank my supporters in business that have been so supportive. All cash is verified. What that statement means is anything coming in or anything going out is verified. All cash is verified. That's just a statement, like a catchphrase that I use to let them know that nothing goes a waste, nothing goes unnoticed. I don't care what it is. When it comes in, it's verified. It's official. Anything going out is verified as well. To my personal supporters, I got people that just support me, with no podcast, supporting me before I had a podcast. I also would like to take this time to thank you as well, because your support makes all of this happen and makes all this possible. And outside, like I say, all cash is verified in that regard. And so to recap, Frank and Vicky, my parents. I would do a podcast talking about my parents as everybody could. But the real message of what I'm saying is I possess the skill. I possess that skill to read between the lines. When someone says something to you, about you, just in the atmosphere that's not to your liking, they also talking about your parents. And they're trying to sully up the name of how you were raised. They're trying to discredit the hard work of Frank and Vicky. But we're not going to allow that, because I'm able to read between the lines and catch the gist of what you're really saying. Okay. I want to tell y'all something about me. I was always a VIP. That's just between me and you. Tell you something about me. I was always a VIP. You guys stay smooth out there. Stay safe out there. Be sure to move in circles that are adequate for you. Do not move in circles with squares, and do not put yourself in environments that are unsavory and that are unhealthy for you. A lot of that is happening right now, but we want to just put the words via podcast into the atmosphere to remind you, stay around positivity, stay around prosperity, be safe, keep your head on the swivel light, because there are forces out here that don't want to see you prosper, don't want to see you succeed. But outside of that, take care of yourselves. I'll see you again soon. I'll be back on the podcast. I got a few more examples of me reading between the lines and interpretations the skill that I have. But until then, be smooth, be safe, and let us become sharper.